Welcome again. Thank you for joining us. We've got a fantastic panel today. Um, we're going to get some introductions in a moment, but again, if you're just tuning in or you're watching this recording back, thank you for joining us for Code in Motion by Sparks, Community-Led Innovation in Computer Science Education. So today's presentation is hosted by EALA, brought to you by EALA. And what is EALA? Many of you are tuning in or watching this back. You may already be part of the EALA-verse or the EALA Extended Universe, or you may be joining us for the first time. EALA is what we call an uncommon coalition of over 170 organizations. I think we're actually at 181 as of today, but I gotta double check. So a strong coalition of all these different organizations working together to build a community, to share and create and curate resources, specifically around meeting the needs of students with disabilities, students who learn differently, and anybody with a barrier to their education traditionally. We represent a diverse range of voices from the community, including disability advocacy, parent groups, teacher training programs, and everything in between. So we're really trying to we got that cross section of many different voices and forces coming together. So welcome, thank you for being here. Seeing lots of great folks in the chat. Yeah, if you're just joining us, go ahead and drop your name, your org, and let us know too what location you're in. It's always cool to see where people are tuning in from. So quickly, today's agenda, we're gonna hear about Code in Motion. We're gonna get an overview. I'm gonna ask some questions. You're gonna hear from the design team. You're gonna hear from the community coaches. There'll be some time for Q&A. So audience, if you have questions that you wanna ask, please make sure to use the chat feature or the Q&A feature. I believe that that's enabled as well. If you type your questions in, I'll do our best to get to everything by the end. So a couple of quick notes before we dig in. Captions are enabled or should be enabled, and you can adjust them based on your preferences. Today's session is being recorded and will be shared afterwards with all the registrants. And again, type your questions in the chat if you have anything that you want to know about. So really excited again to introduce this exciting panel of speakers today. I'll start with a quick introduction. I'm Aurora Dreger. I'm the project director for the Educating All Learners Alliance, or EALA for short, and I'm based in Brooklyn. So I'll pass it over to Coach Ron for a quick introduction. Coach Ron, let's check your, I think you're muted. There you go.
Thank you. Coach Ron, Fun Zone Reading Club for Homeless Low-Income Kids Tour, and we're located in Skid Row, California.
Thank you. I'll pass it to Ta. Introduce yourself.
Greetings, everyone. I am Coach Ta Hochi, longtime community advocate in Skid Row, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you. I'll pass it to Timothy.
Good morning, excuse me. Good morning, everybody. My name is Timothy. I am a coach for Code in Motion, and I reside in Los Angeles, California.
Thank you. And Kelly?
Hi, my name is Kelly Paulson. I'm project manager at Turk, and I am just north of Boston.
Fantastic. And Heather?
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Cunningham. I'm the Director of Educational Equity and Research at BOOTUP PD, and I am located in Northern Colorado.
Fantastic. Great. All right, everybody. So you're here today to talk about a project and part of an EALA initiative that we've all been working on since about June of last year. So we're coming up on our 1 year mark. I can't believe it's been 12 whole months. So a little bit of background. This group came together during the EALA Community of Action in May 2025. And I've spoken a lot about the EALA Community of Action. It's our annual in-person convening where we bring together an uncommon group of educators, leaders, and allies we come together, we identify a problem, we propose a solution, and then we pitch an idea, we pitch a project for actual funding. So during the May 2025 2025 convening. This group came together, comprised of Coach Ron, Kelly, and Heather. They came together, they came up with this idea for Code in Motion. They pitched it in our dolphin tank, like a shark tank, but it's nicer, so we call it a dolphin tank. And they were granted funds based on community participatory grant funding. So this was voted on by the community. It's been a privilege of mine to advise and ensure that this project goes smoothly from a logistics point of view. But the folks doing the hard work are the folks on the panel today that I just introduced. So I'd like to pass it to, I believe I have Heather up first. If you can give us, Heather, just talk us through the origin story of Code in Motion. You know, how did this team come together, and what problems were you trying to address?
Thank you, Aurora. It originally started with Coach Ron and I at the convening. We were both focused on community engagement and really understanding how that works in his community and how it works in our community. He was really focused on workforce development and supporting people that are going through housing instability. And obviously, Boot Up is all about supporting pathways for equitable computer science education at the K-8 level. So we kind of went, it took several rounds for us to really figure out how we could blend those two together. And then Kelly came in as well with Turk and computational thinking and really kept narrowing it down until we decided on creating a project where we would bring computer science education to Skid Row. And Coach really was adamant about making sure that the community was, involved in every step of the process, which is where we have our coaches, that instead of bringing in teachers from outside of the community, we build the community up itself and taught teachers within the community. So Timothy and Ta are two of the coaches that have been in that training program with us and are now teachers themselves. So it's been a beautiful collaboration. And if Coach or Kelly want to add anything to that.
Well, let me drive you to a little bit deeper. Thank you so much for that, Heather. It's been, like I said, really cool to see these three organizations come together. So on this next slide, we're highlighting Zumbinis. So I'm going to pass it to Kelly to dig a little bit deeper into the content, right? Like what are some of the aspects of the computer science education that you're doing? You mentioned computational thinking. So Kelly, tell us a little bit about that. What makes this program unique, or what really makes this program successful?
Right. Well, let's see. We're three different groups, three different organizations who all came into one place at the same time. Coach Ron is obviously bringing the people in the space, and we'll get to more of his story in a bit. Heather and her wonderful organization Boot Up, they're bringing the Scratch, which is a block coding program, materials and resources and all their great PD they do with teachers. Turk is bringing not only our Zumbinis logic puzzle digital games, but also all the unplugged activities. So we really like that balance of on-screen work time and also some unplugged activities that complement and support all the coding work. And I think one of the most important things we try to remember when we're thinking about this as coding and computer science, that in addition to introducing students and adults to computer science, we are training and encouraging thinking skills, not just coding skills. So yes, they're coding, they're learning introductory block coding, but they're really learning how to be great thinkers, which is important whether or not you're coding for a job or trying to walk out the door in the morning wearing the right clothes for the right weather. And Coach Heather.
Yeah, I love that analogy. If it's not just doing, it's the thinking part too, as well. And the unplugged piece is really important. We're going to get to that in a little bit. So Heather, can you tell us a little bit more about, Kelly touched on this, but I know Scratch is a big part of the work of Boot Up's approach to computer science education. So tell us a little bit more about um, your organization's, your teaching and training models. How did you bring that in to uh, this program?
Yes, Aurora. So Scratch is something that Boot Up uses with our teachers and our students. It's a great program because one, it's free, but it also has a low floor and a high ceiling. So you can use it with inexperienced or novice coders all the way up to very advanced coders. So I saw we use it all the time with our teachers and our students in the schools. So thought this would be a great way to bring this to the community as well. Um, a lot of when we were building the program, Kelly and I were going back and forth on bringing in the computational thinking projects from Turk and aligning them with some of the projects that Boot Up already does, and really centering it more on the community. So Coach with Fun Zone Reading Club is, very much literacy based. So we wanted to make sure that there was a literacy component to that as well. So as we were developing it, for instance, Boot Up has a project called Animate a Name. So we tied it to the name jar, which is all about understanding the importance of names. And then showing the teachers, the coaches, how to animate their name in Scratch using sprites and making the letters move or say something about the coaches or the student's name. There's another project that we were building that was about the beauty of the community itself, and it ties to a book called Maybe Something Beautiful, which is about artwork around the community, which ties in nicely because there's all kinds of beautiful murals and stuff within Skid Row, even at UMayo where we did a lot of the training. Hidden figures, understanding superheroes within the community. Another one was When the Beat Was Born, which is about music. What do you do with an idea? So sharing that it's important for kids to be able to express their ideas through code. And then also like choose your own adventure, that they have the ability to choose their own path. So Scratch really allows students to be able to do that. And I think it allowed our coaches to learn that and to be able to share their story, to then show the kids how to share their story as well.
I love that saying, the low floor, high ceiling, right? So that it's a access, it's an entry point, but it's also not only entry level, right? You can do a lot. You can do a lot with it, and through your organization's, your curriculum, your planning, your modeling, it seems like there's a lot of really, uh, activities, projects, that align with that are developmentally appropriate, that are maybe community, responsive to the community, which leads us to workforce development, right? This what's so unique about this program. I'm going to have Coach Ron speak to this. Is that um, it's not just the children who are learning, and we're not importing teachers from somewhere else. We're training and working with folks right in the community. So, Coach Ron, I'm going to pass it to you. Just tell us more about the program from the workforce side, and how your organization, Fun Zone, kind of really brings it all together.
Hey, once again, thank you, Aurora, for hosting us. Thank the team for being here. Thanks to everybody out there in this public space. Um, Workforce development is very dear to my heart because I understand that, you know, every man and woman would like to have a job. And so when I look at how opportunities come into Skid Row community. You go, it's the homeless capital of the United States of America. You have thousands of veterans that's on the streets. You have women, kids. You have thousands of men. And it's like, to me, they're all able-bodied. And so why not give them an opportunity to earn their way to housing? And that's my whole concept. That's my whole vision. And if you're homeless, I give you opportunity to earn your way to housing, then we're reducing homelessness. And so I believe that individuals should have that opportunity. They shouldn't be pandered or be exploited. And that's what happens in Skid Row. I've been there for 20 years and exploitation is rampant. So when this opportunity was brought to to myself, and I says, hey, and I always say this. I always say I'm always in a good position to receive gifts, to receive opportunities, but at this point, I need to play it forward. So I just don't want it for me. I want it for the community. When people say, Coach, here go 40,000, here go 50,000, here go 30,000 to implement this initiative, I said, no, it's not for me. No, let it be for organization so we can build capacity, so we can demonstrate that the need can be met if the opportunity is presented. And that's where the coaching come in. And that's where I really so, excited about Heather and Kelly and Aurora. It's like, just to have these opportunities to come together, to have a planning strategic think tank to say, you know what, we can implement this, even though it's underfunded. And that's something we communicated to the community. Look, Skid Row, it's underfunded, but we can demonstrate if the opportunity is presented, we will take advantage of it. And that's what we've done. We have 15 coaches who went through our certification. They got their certificates. They are actually coaches for Code in Motion. Now, when I say workforce, that means you got to go to work. So we give the coaches opportunity. Remember, it's all low barrier, and they come, they perform. They all tell me, Coach, thank you. They thank Heather. They thank Kelly. They really, 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 truly enjoy the training. That's what they like the most. It's like we want to work with the kids, but it's the training. It's really understanding what coding is about, the responsibilities that they are receiving, and the opportunity to exercise that. And that's what I enjoy the most because the coaches are really compassionate. They really have lived experience, and when it comes to mentoring and leadership, this is what kids that are suffering, that are unstable, that are coming from broken homes, that are lacking financial opportunities. This is where they get their motivation from. People who look like them, who live in their communities, who are compassionate about seeing them through. And that's what workforce development is about at Code in Motion. It's making sure all our coaches are lived experience, understand that compassion and love is our only approach. That's our only approach.
I love that. I mean, the piece about the power of being mentored or led by a an adult who has had a similar or relatable experience, right? Somebody who looks like you or comes from a similar experience or background. That part of representation is something that um, I think sometimes we people who look like me might take that for granted, right? It's an assumption that um, there's always going to be, I'm people who look like me are going to be represented, right? But to be able to see leaders like Ta and Timothy rolling up their sleeves, doing the work, learning how to code. I mean, look at some of these pictures back. I was looking back at one of these, like look at the smile on that person's face in the upper right corner, right? Like what you mentioned, Coach Ron, the joy that not just the students but the adults. So with that, I wanted to really dig in here and introduce. We have two of the community coaches that were able to join us today. I'm so excited to hear more from Ta and Timothy. So I'll start with Ta. Timothy, I'll cue you in next, but let's just get started by just tell us about how you got involved with Code in Motion, what the program means to you, and what's the impact that this program has had on you. So, Todd, tell us a little bit about your story and how you got involved.
Okay, how I got involved. Been a long time comrade of Coach, and he came up on me and said, "Man, I got this new program about coding. We're gonna be teaching the youth." I'm like, Coach, I'm all for that. We gotta teach our youth. We gotta teach our youth our culture and our narrative. So he told me the day, and I showed up. I met Heather, met Kelly. and it was great. I I fell in love with it. That's how I got to get in with coding. And your other question was, what do it mean for me? What do it mean?
Yeah.
It
Yeah. What
means
is
it means a lot. I would say this, being that this year is the second International Decade of African Descent, I think it's coming at the right time that, and then we coach getting us, the leaders from the community. So we're coaching our culture and our narrative. And also, we're teaching something that's could change the world. I would like to look at it like this, that we're teaching these young youth and adults, and I want to be that one who inspire that spark in that young student or that middle adult that make them think differently and create this new thing that's going to change the world. And I'll be happy. I'll be happy. I coached that one right there, and I'll be happy with that. So I do want to leave a legacy and an image of what we are doing. And I think this is a great opportunity for it to happen. And I appreciate Coach and Heather and Kelly for coming together, and you as well, Aurora, for you the quarterback in it. You throwing the passes, and we're, I guess, we the receivers. And these are the team captains.
I like to say I like to say I'm the Rodman. You guys are Pippen and Jordan.
There you go. There you
I like
go.
to, I set you up. You guys do it though. So
You got it.
I'm the Rodman. I'm the Rodman.
Set us up. So it's great. I have so much. I will be sitting here talking forever about the scenarios. Anything else? Okay, you say when I started and what I love about it, and I want to continue. I really do. I
Yeah.
want to continue.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We're going to talk more about your like more specific experiences, but thank you for that overview and that, this like a ripple in the pond, right? This one small thing we're doing, can hopefully spread out. Try to find future funding or just spread the word. Even people attending this webinar today or watching the recording back, spread the word about this work that we're doing because it can have such a great impact. So let's hear from Timothy. Tell us a little bit about you, how you got involved. What does this program mean to you? What have you gotten out of it? Or yeah,
All right, well, thank you for allowing me to be here. Number one, peace and blessings to everyone that's here. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am an individual with street lived experience. Let's put it like that. And it was a blessing for me to be able to do this. I found out about it when I moved into my first apartment here at the UMass. They had this little thing going on where, you can train to do code in motion. I didn't know what it was at that present moment, but I had nothing else better to do. So I wanted to learn more about it. I went there for the first day and I got hooked ever since then, because it's right up my alley. Um, I love giving back to my community because at one point I was really, really terrible to my community. So as maturing in life and becoming the person that I am today, I love to give back to my community because my community is my home. That's where I live, and I will never forget about my community. My community made me who I am today. So so it's a pleasure to be able to, you know, help the next generation out. It's a blessing to be able to do that because, as a leader, the greatest thing that a leader can do is teach another individual how to lead. And I believe this is where code in motion comes in at, especially in our urban area where young men and women need to see, leaders, because we don't have none down here. We really don't. A lot of fakeness going on. So when they see this, that inspires them to want to do something different in life than what they're accustomed to seeing in the streets. And when we come around for, no matter if it's just for like 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours, it brings a positive impact to their life. Where they want to learn, they're willing to learn, and it brings me joy to see that they catch on so fast, and they're willing to do this to the point where now they're teaching us a lot of things, and that's a blessing.
That leads me to my next question for you. Here, I'm going to go to the next slide just so because I love looking at these pictures. Let's talk a little bit about like some specific experiences, maybe a specific example, or um, Timothy, tell us about like when you're working with a student, how do you know that they're getting it, right? Like how can you tell that they're learning? What are some things that you've seen happening?
It's when they take the wheel.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. When they take the wheel, I can step back for a little bit, and watch them, because I might learn something,
I
and
love that.
that's when I know that they're in the zone on what they're trying to do and what they're trying to learn and what we're trying to teach them. And that's man, that you don't understand how much that's a blessing. That's really a blessing to me.
I taught folks in the EALA who've listened to my podcast or know me, know that I spent about 10 years teaching arts, teaching dance in Brooklyn in public schools in some of the poorest and most underfunded neighborhoods. So the that seeing my students being able to like choreograph a dance or say, "Hey, Miss Dreger, look, let me show you the step. Remember the step you taught me? Here, I'm going to show it to you." Right? Like when they turn it back and teach you something, that's incredible, and I love to see that, and it's happening in this program. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. What about and Ty? I know that you've had some insight and experiences around specifically like is there anything that maybe surprised you? And Timothy, you can respond as well, but I wanted to pass the mic to Ta.
That surprised me.
Yeah, something maybe a student, an experience, a moment that was like, oh wow, I hadn't, surprised you or
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, there's several of them.
Hmm.
Um, it's all revolves around what Timothy said when they take the wheel, and it happens a lot. And I really don't have nothing else to say about it. Is when they take the wheel. So one experience was with a little artist. It was a young lady, and she was an artist, and she drew a lot, right? And she wanted to put her art in scratch and do some stuff with it, right? But we didn't get permission for her parents to log in, so she can have her own account. But every time we showed up, she started bringing. She had started having her art there, right? So that was showing enough initiative because the first day, we spoke about the programs that was in Scratch, and as well, I say we can take a picture of anything and put it in there and change it up. This is when she said, "Oh, I can draw my little cat or this and that," and she just kept talking about that all that day. The next time she came, she had some pictures, but her mother didn't sign up for it, so um, that is kind of hurt my heart because she wanted it so bad, and I'm pretty sure she would have got it, giving time, but that's kind of like a heartache because I see a lot of that. Some of them they get it. Um, we can show them uh, here, like when we do our names, tell your names up, right, and you make it go bloop or spin or something. So we're getting the kids to upload their names, and like they do, they take the wheel. Next thing you know it, they're making their letter spin when we just said bring in the letter and yeah, just bring up a letter. Next thing you know, they brought up a letter and it was spinning. Oh, here's my letter here. So they just start taking the wheel. Um, that really thrills me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes it easier. It makes it easier.
And you brought up a really interesting point. Some of the barriers when you're doing community-based programming, sometimes there are barriers like parental involvement or consent or like or buy-in, right? Like getting people to, you mentioned the young lady who wanted to be involved, but she didn't, didn't get coordinated with the parental permission, which is going to lead me
Their
to
parents put their signature.
right, right, right. So a big part of this program, and I'm going to pass it to Coach Ron, but I'm happy to hear from the rest of the panel too. Tell us a little bit more about the community impact. I know that it was more than just coding and these lessons. Coach Ron, I know you've talked about that. The other ways that Code in Motion showed up for the community.
Can I just? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
Well, I
please.
mean, it became an issue of once we implemented code in motion by Sparks, we already knew that we had to be a mutual aid
Yep.
to the community. We already knew that, right? And and then President Trump sent in his ICE agents, and that really became very, very, very disruptive to the Skid Row community, which made us had to pivot, right? Because if everybody's afraid to being deported, they're not coming out, they're not going to school, they're not participating in no extracurricular activities. So where we pivoted at was more of just working with the adults, which was kind of astonishing because the adults was like they was there. We had more adults attending School Motion by Sparks than kids, and that's where it was like, whoa, wait a minute, hold down here, and maybe we're really on to something, and that's where I understood that it, we we benefit the community, not only the kids, but adults wanted the same opportunity to learn coding. They wanted to tell their story through coding. And that's what really excited me as we move forward because we started having all these, adults wanted to participate. They wanted this to learn the basics. And then when I took that information to the politicians, to the property owners, um, to they all asked me one simple question is like, Coach, coding, what is it? And when the politicians say that, when they respond to that, when the property owners respond to that, that makes me understand like, okay, we can actually really do something really phenomenal because
like
they all are interested in supporting it. They just don't know what it is because they thinking coding is very complicated, it's very advanced, and it's too tedious for any adult to pick it up. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is all entry level. And when I say entry level, they green light it. So, at this moment, man, they want us to come and work in the mental health capacity. Like Skid Row, you have thousands and thousands of homeless people that's suffering from mental illness. So the Los Angeles County Mental Health Department offered us a site to work with the adults. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to take these coaches and take this whole program and we're going to meet the needs of the adult in Skid Row. So that's really been astonishing to me, Aurora, to see that adults wanted more than the kids.
And Ty, no, thank you so much for that, Coach Ron. I'm going to pass it to you next time. I know you had a comment. One of the biggest things for me, and then Timothy as well, one of the biggest things for me working on this project with you, getting those monthly updates, and oh my God, I'm going to try not to cry. I always say this, hearing about the disruptions that were being caused and the way that services were being blocked out of fear made me really upset as the granddaughter of a Puerto Rican immigrant. That's just something that is really personal to me. I digress. The what we learned from that is the power of perseverance, the ability to adapt, the ability to pivot, to iterate, and any way you want to describe it is that we were able to adapt the program to what it needed to be to serve the community. So that's one of my achievements that I'm so proud of that I was able to help facilitate that this year. But please, Timothy and Todd, tell us more from your perspective on the ground in the field. What was some of the ways that this impacted your community?
Um, One of the ways that it impacted in my ways is that it brought the community together. Number one,
Mhm.
um, that's number one, and that should go just forever. Um, Two, Coach Ron spoke on it a little bit about adults, and what and how we help them out, when they're learning coding for the first time because they're damn near just like a child. It's something new to them, and they love it. And I want to see it go further, like from mental health all the way down to like rehabs. Personally, this is coming from me, because I'm an ex addict. So like just an hour of learning something, you don't know how beneficial that is for that individual at that present moment. Because it gets their mind away from all the toxic things that fluctuates all through there. So it it's a blessing to be able to see these people, like a light goes on in their head and like just like it brightens up like, oh, okay, now I'm learning something, and it activates your brain, it's like as an addict, we killed a lot of our brain cells. So, like, for us to be able to, just get back and start learning how to do critical thinking again, just think, period, just think. That's a blessing. That is a complete blessing to be able to see that, and to see somebody excel the next time that I see them. And, now they know what to do. Now they doing it so much that, when I leave here, they're still going to do it. And I love that type of stuff. I love to see that.
It's a great point about like rebuilding, you know, like those neurotransmitters, those neural pathways, or stuff that's a little bit out of my out of my scope of expertise. But I know that learning a new skill, whether it's dance, art, an instrument, computer, so like has a big part of recovering and recuperating some of that, the chemical imbalances that may happen during dependency, right? During addiction. So like hit the nail on the head there with like a positive input into your brain has
Mhm,
a much bigger
mhm,
impact than we realize. Thank you for bringing that up,
mhm.
and thank you for sharing that. And Ty, I thought that you had a comment that you wanted to make. I don't want
Yeah,
to skip over you.
I
Thank you,
just want
Timothy.
to add to that, Timothy, what Timothy was saying. Um, Healing happens when new neurons are being developed in the brain and in the nervous system. So you got neurons down there as well. So that's a bigger brain. So that's what's happening when we learning things. But I want to speak on barriers. Speak on barriers, and Code in Motion have the most elegant tool for barrier bringing down, and it's called Unplugged. And I'm going to speak on this part because when you're in a room, mostly people, some people know each other, and some people don't know each other. But the best way to find out and how to get people to work with each other is give them something to work together on. And we had several uh, tools to do that. One was a puzzle. I just noticed when we were doing the puzzle exercises that each one of us, we shine in our category. um, okay, for to say one person, everyone build puzzles. One person had the mindset of getting those edges or getting those funny little pieces that look a certain way that they're gonna match. You have a little style, and I just was watching how it really it didn't take a leader to put everybody in their space. It's just like water. It just filled in the spaces, and that was a great icebreaker. And I see it broke ices with the coaches and with the students. I think we did one with a student area, and even though the students knew each other, they I think they got more in tune with each other when they worked this kind of situation together. They understood how each other think, and they worked it out, and it worked. These unplugged puzzles are great for breaking down barriers and getting into a clear space for healing and learning to happen. We got to have a safe space. Yeah, I just want to talk on barriers and unplugged. So
Yeah.
that was my big thing right there.
I mean, when we were talking earlier, and again, people who've heard my heard me speak before know that educational equity is something I'm really passionate about. Like I said, I worked, you guys are in Skid Row. I was a teacher in East New York, Brooklyn. For people you know, you if you know, you know.
I know.
Right. It's one of the most underfunded. It's a different world, right? I mean, and it's to see the barriers there that we're supposed to all be part of the same system, but it's very, very clear that if you live in the wrong zip code, you don't have access to things like art, dance, music, computer science. So the fact that this program is inherently, it is designed to be brought into spaces where there's traditionally a barrier, right? It's built that way on purpose. That's something that is really, really important, and we need more of that. And I wish I could go back in time and bring you guys to my
Mhm.
kiddos in East New York. There are not any other programs. Code in Motion is right now was just piloted in Skid Row, Los Angeles. We're hopeful that we can expand it through future funding. Anybody watching this or listening back, if you're interested in figuring out how to do this in your community, shoot me an email. We'll at least brainstorm. I love that question, Dennis. But there's nothing. I'm sure there are a ton of amazing programs in New York City. This particular program was only piloted in LA, so we're hoping to expand it. So looking at the time, okay, great. We've got about 15 minutes left. I wanted to bring it back to, I want to hear from Kelly and Heather. And of course, my coaches as well. Feel free to respond to this, but thinking about computer science, and I think that there is sometimes a preconceived notion about what computer science is. Sometimes people think it's just about computers or coding. You touched on this earlier, but maybe let's start with Kelly. Um, how is code in motion changing some of the preconceived notions about what computer science is?
I have so many things to say.
Yeah.
Um, and um, I want to go back to this idea of adult learners,
Yes, thank you.
because a lot of the adult learners, Todd, Timothy, and Coach, maybe weren't introduced to this in school. I mean, we're older. Timothy, I won't talk for you. We're older. We didn't have this the same way back in school. And like the joy we've seen in the adult learners has been amazing. And kudos back to them, but also this joy in becoming a teacher themselves. Like anyone can teach. I was virtual for training the first time around, and I was on site the second time around. And we sat around tables, we tried out those unplugged activities, and Todd and Timothy and the other coaches who were there were having the same conversations that seasoned educators have and asking the right kind of questions and thinking about all these key pieces about how kids think and how they can think and what we can do to help them think and solve problems. And it was beautiful. Like now I'm getting all teary because it really was amazing to see folks have this opportunity to do something that might not have been there before, then do it and do it so wonderfully. Like crazy. Heather, you were also included in there.
Yeah, no, Kelly, I think you said most of what I was going to say. I'll just piggyback on that we experienced this with educators, but we also experienced this in LA, that a lot of people think computer science is for people that are going to be computer scientists, or that it's just for certain pathways. And I think that through the unplugged activities, through doing Scratch, through working with the community, that we're able to show that computer science is critical thinking, it's problem solving, it's breaking down barriers, as Ta said, it's supporting people to learn more about their community and about themselves. And it really is for anybody, children or adults. So, Coach, I don't know if you want to speak to that because you had a really good thing about what you were seeing with computer science as well.
But no, what I can say is like we all say in Skid Row, the opportunities are here, but please just don't exploit us. And I think that's really the bottom line when it comes to Code in Motion by Sparks. It's just opportunity with no exploitation.
That's that's fantastic. I mean, like that's the thing is it's the like ready, willing, and able to work and like skill building, right? Like it's skill, like you're learning how to do a real applicable skill. Doesn't mean you're going to become a computer scientist, but you're going to apply these skills to so many other things. Heather and Kelly have been longtime ELA partners, right? Boot Up, PD, and Turk. I think Turk was like one of my when I started working for ELA back like 3, 4 years ago. I feel like you two were some of the earliest people that I started talking to. So you've been in my ELA verse for a while. My question specifically is around, I mentioned in the beginning, ELA, we really are focusing on that equity piece for students who have disabilities, students who learn differently. So can you be a little bit, give us some specific ways that this program, I mean, we've talked really generally and about opening opportunity, but what if you're a student with a if you learn differently or a disability, how does this program benefit you or make an impact on you? I'll throw it to Heather first, and then Kelly can.
Okay. Um, um, I would say just in general, coding is, like we said before, is low ceiling, or excuse me, low floor, high ceiling. So a lot of students, what I found in education is that a lot of times students with disabilities or learning differences are left out of the computer science space with the notion that they may not be able to do it, which is absolutely not true. And I think that just breaking down that understanding that this is for anybody, that you can come in and it has the tool itself, Scratch, has things within it that are specific to support learners with differences. So there's different languages within it for multilingual learners. There's different contrasts, so students with maybe eye disorders may be able to see the screen a little bit better. There's different ways that we can use the tool to support different learners to have a voice. We've had not necessarily in Code in Motion, but just in general with coding, students that may be nonverbal. We've had instances with Buddha where students were nonverbal and were able to take coding and share their voice with it. So, and if you think about learning differences in general in Code in Motion, students that are having housing instability, that are worried about where their next meal is going to come from, if they have a place to live, that is absolutely going to impact how you learn, where you're coming from. So I think this is allowing them that space to be able to learn in a way that might fit them better. So Kelly, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, Turk has done a lot of work with neurodivergent learners, and a lot of the activities that we've brought to Code in Motion were developed in a National Science Foundation funded project where we were looking at including supports and scaffolds to help learners. We were providing multiple access points, like you can come in here, you can come in here, you can come here, get to the same end goal. Tom referred to some of the unplugged activities that allow a child who might not be able to stay in their seat the chance to get up and get moving. We found that a lot of students that learn differently might struggle in traditional classroom settings, but when they do some of our activities or work with the Zumbinis puzzles, they find the place where they shine, where they can be leaders, where the way they think is something they can describe to other students and be like, well, look at how I'm working on this. And then teach others how to work through it the same way. So um, I'm not sure where I was going with all of that, except there's so many places for people to shine, and I think that's really important when you're giving access to everybody.
I'm gonna pass it to Ta, and then I'll do our. And then, believe it or not, we're closing up. So Ta, your thoughts. Then we're gonna do like one last question. So
Um, my thoughts, my thoughts is on innovation. Um, Being that we were granted this opportunity, now that we got this opportunity, the way the coaches are thinking about this opportunity, do we have room for innovation? For as in say that Scratch is Scratch open source, and as well as artists, Scratch is a beautiful tool to make small little videos or snippets of teaching things. And I was wondering, is there a way that we can develop a program that we can take Scratch out of Scratch and put it in another program so we can put Scratch in its own box and share it via social media? In other words, we'll start developing our own memes. That's just an artistic ideal of that
yeah.
creative. I know I probably went off topic on that one,
No, no, no. It's
but
the idea of innovation, right? And that
innovation,
yeah,
yes, we can take it a step further. You know, yes, we can get kids and adults learning Scratch, but as well as innovating, we can take it a step further. Hey, we can start showing you how to create NFTs, make yourself some names and use it on your social media accounts, and create a whole new kind of business sort.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I just want to
So
leave it there.
I love that. I love that. Up on the screen, we've got the Code in Motion logo that was designed by you, right,
Yes,
Todd? Great.
two of us.
And
Yes.
I think we're all rocking our Code in Motion shirts today. I was trying to frame it right. I've even got my name on mine. When when Heather and Kelly handed me this, I think I started crying. Like I said, this is like I get very proud of this program. So with this beautiful slide up to kind of bring it home, I want to do I want each person to give me like one big takeaway. Like people who are listening, if you want folks to walk away thinking about or remembering one thing from today, I'm gonna start with you, Timothy. Then I'll go Timothy, Ta, Coach Ron, and I'll keep going. So Timothy, last thoughts, closing thoughts, big insight. What do you want people to walk away from this experience thinking about?
That coded motion is worth it.
Mm,
Yeah, it's really worth it. And I'm going to say this. I would like to thank Heather, Kelly, and Coach Ron for, bringing this to the Umea apartment, because it it helped me throughout school. Like I learned how to focus more when I was doing coding motion and when I was learning coding motion and when I was out there in the field teaching kids about coding motion. I learned a lot about myself, and it helped me throughout school. When I was, like when I'm with the kids and I'm presenting, it it gave me the confidence and the experience to be able to go in class and present my presentation in front of the whole class, and that meant a lot to me, and I know that if that did that for me for me I know what it can do for a child. I know what it can do for another adult. It's all about planting seeds, and watching it grow, and that's what we're doing within our community. We're planting seeds. Not only for the kids, but for the adults. The adults want to learn also.
yeah,
Education is infinite, knowledge is infinite. Everybody has the right to learn. So just being able to teach in my community and you know with help, we're going to plant more seeds in other communities that really need it, that deserves it. we're trying to kill stigmas of our community, and this is where it starts at. And I'm a true firm believer in killing the stigma of Skid Row. I'm a true firm believer of that. And, with the help of Coach Ron, Todd, and a few other people, I mean, we're going to end the stigma of Skid Row.
Yeah.
And by doing this, this is just the start. This is just a start. And, with help, we could go far. I mean, extremely far with this. This is just the beginning of it.
I
This is
love
just the
that.
tip of the iceberg, really.
Tip of the iceberg. I love that. I'm gonna go to Ta for your close thoughts. Thank you so much, Timothy.
Yes. As I salute you, Timothy. I want to share my appreciation for you, Timothy, working alongside of you. I want to share my appreciation for you, Coach, for having the idea of bringing this to the community. And I want to thank you, Heather and Kelly, for meeting Coach and putting it together. And I want to talk and I want to lead the last one, Dennis Rodman. The feeder, Aurora. For bringing us all in. And I just want to say this, reflecting off this picture. Learning, healing, and growth, it happens collectively. It happens collectively. As in the picture, you got an elder teaching the two youth. And believe me, if they're if one of these students have a question, the other one is going to get the information as well. So if they both ask the right questions, they're going to have everything they need. So learning, healing, it works together. That's why we're out here learning, healing, and progressing our future.
I love that. Thank you. We have 2 minutes left. I want to hear from Coach Ron. Closing thoughts.
Now, quickly, um, summer's coming up. Support the summer program. School is out June the 12th, so we got a few weeks. If you guys feel the need to see this continue past the funding cycle, summer is needed. Support the program.
Love that. Oh, sorry. Heather, closing thoughts or final words?
Really quickly, I know we're almost done. I want to thank you really quickly, Aurora, for convening a space where I could meet Coach and Kelly in this cross-sector collaboration, which I never would have had a chance to meet them. And more importantly, not more importantly, but just as importantly, Ta and Timothy, and being exposed to the Skid Row community, which by far is the one of the most beautiful communities I have ever stepped foot in. I've learned so much, and this is the most impactful, profound project of my life. Thank you.
Kelly.
Agreed. Doors open from all sides. We brought stuff to Skid Row. Skid Row brought stuff to us. We've never seen such a love of community as we saw there on the ground. It was great. And we hope to keep doing it. We're putting in proposals. We're looking for funding to keep things going, and we'll get there.
And
I'm gonna quote Timothy really quickly. You said this a couple meetings ago. Learning should be free. It
Oh,
should
yeah.
be free. Unfortunately, we need some funding to get there. But we're gonna keep it going.
yeah. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you to the folks who were listening, folks who are watching back, and for my panel. And you all kept thanking me, Aurora, for bringing you together, which I appreciate. Again, like the organizer, but it's the funding that we got from EALA, from Innovate EDU, and further up the chain from this funding was made possible through the Oak Foundation. So thank you to them as well. So I've been really excited and happy to be able to facilitate all these years, and especially this one. Not allowed to have favorites, but this one has a special place in my heart. If you want to stay involved and remain connected to EALA, shoot me an email, aurora@innovateedunyc.org. If you got resources you want to share, shoot them my way. Email me. You want to get involved, want to learn how to become a partner, send me an email. We'll figure out, make it happen. You want to look for some free open access resources, free, completely free, no catch, visit educatingalllearners.org. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I'm Aurora from EALA, and this was a fantastic webinar with Code in Motion by Sparks. Thank you, everybody.